Sometimes the world just needs a hero to help cut through all the noise.
Well, now you have two.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. You are listening to your friendly neighborhood heroes of noise. I am your host, Steve.
What's up, Buttercups? My name is Dan Ramirez. Welcome to episode 4. It's a beautiful day. I'm here with my friend Steve, and we are ready to do this. How's it going?
How you feeling, brother?
I'm a little sad, actually, that we didn't get to do our pre-show today, but oh well, that's all right. We're just going to keep rocking it out, and so...
We were talking business, man. We have exciting plans coming your way. We have such exciting plans coming your way. I mean, the show's about to go to another level. We can't wait to show y'all what we have in mind. Like, what could go wrong with a co-host like this brother Dan over here?
Such an open-ended question, and the answer is plenty. Plenty could go wrong, actually, Steve. But I do appreciate the words of the uplifting words that you've given me today. You know me, man. I can't deal with these compliments.
Totally understandable.
Fictional or not, I just can't deal with them. So anyway, you know what I love? I love giving people information that they can utilize to better their lives. And I thought I would start off with something like this, Steve. Do you mind if I just take the mic for a second and do my thing?
Can you leave out the .e.hudson for me?
Hey, come on, man. Why you got to bring up old shit?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think I lost a lot of followers because of that.
I'm going to put in a dash and a backslash too now. Forward slash, maybe an asterisk now.
You made up my hash. You made up my Twitter.
There's no way of proving it. You've wiped it off the internet. I'm sticking with my story.
When would I ever have put a period or a underscore or a period after S dot?
It's your own fault for not correcting me.
This is true. No, that's true.
Take your medicine.
Yes, I will do that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Steve's crazy. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you right now. That guy's crazy. But I've got some information for you. If you want to get a hold of the Heroes of Noise podcast, it's very easy to do. By Gmail, it's heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. If you're a Twitter fan like I am, you can reach us at Heroes of Noise. You can reach myself, Dan, at DanQPublic, and my friend Steve Hudson at SE_Hudson Music. Is that better, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you. I thought you'd like that. We also have a voicemail that hasn't been utilized yet. It's a little dusty, if audio waves could be dusty. Our voicemail is 559-492-9831. It's there waiting for you, actually. And you know what I just realized, Steve? I have to actually change it up because I think it's still saying the word. So good thing I haven't used it yet. But yeah, it'll all be worked out by the time you people find this anyway. What's that? The word? Oh, it's this amazing podcast that we do that you may have forgotten about.
People should check that out.
Since you brought it up, Steve, if you want to add us on Twitter, you can reach that show at @word_podcast. Maybe I'm biased. I think we do a great job. You can subscribe to that on iTunes, and the show itself is called The Word, the unofficial preacher podcast. Lovely show. You love it. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher. There's all kinds of iHeartRadio. Just get it where you can. Good show. But we're not talking about The Word right now. We are talking about the Heroes of Noise, the priority right now. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
I would agree, sir.
So, like I was saying, subscribe to this podcast as well. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. We're still working on the iHeartRadio because we're kind of a brand new show. So I think we have like another week or something like that before we can actually put it on. And it's going to be on YouTube soon. So stay tuned. If you would be so kind, please leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher if you like the show. I mean, I think it helps. And if you want us to succeed in life and be happy and just be, mentally healthy individuals, this is the thing that you're going to do for us here. Just leave a little note, if you will. Hey, these guys are great. I like Dan better than Steve. Anything like that will work. Just a suggestion. Just a suggestion.
Yeah,
so anyway, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. But that's pretty much the ins and outs of it, man. So I think we can actually get down to business right now.
All right, brother. So, Dan, I know you have a busy life. Life takes you by surprise very often.
Most certainly.
You have 18 jobs.
19.
You have a wonderful family.
They're dope.
But in between those interesting things happening in your life, you do find a chance to be able to read some stuff, listen to some stuff, and watch some stuff. Why don't you give the listeners a little taste of that, brother?
I don't know how I have the time to do this, but yeah, I do. Let's see. What was I into this week, man? There's a couple things that I wanted to talk about. I caught a really, really cool Amazon Prime pilot. And So you watch this, right? We can talk about this one.
I did. Go for it.
Let me address the crowd here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about a show that you absolutely need to watch right now. Just actually pause and come back, and we'll still be here. But you should just go and watch this right this second. It's called Sea Oak, and it's on Amazon Prime. Right now, it is pilot season, and if you're not really aware of how that works, they release 3 pilots, normally 3 pilots, and you get to kind of vote on them. There's a survey that you take afterwards if you want, if you are so kind to do so. And you tell them why you think this show should be on. I did one of these instantly. It's the first one that I did, and it's regarding Sea Oak. So I'm going to talk about that one a little bit. Steve, I was never really I shouldn't say I was never really a Glenn Close fan, but I think she absolutely nails her role in this one here. I want to kind of break it down a little bit for these good people and tell them what's up.
Go for it. And there's some things, it's going to sound very sparse because there's a certain thing that we just can't tell you.
I know, and I was just about to read the synopsis just to see if that would help people along. But folks, I'm not going to actually now. I think I'm just going to tell you that I went into this completely cold. I really had no idea what it was about, but I figured I needed something to talk about. So I'm really glad that I picked this one first. Sea Oak is amazing. It stars Jane Levy, who was in Evil Dead. Last I saw her anyway. We got James Vanderbeek. We have Glenn Close, who's amazing. And what this is, I'll just tell you a little bit about the characters. This revolves around an elderly woman by the name of Bernie. And she has a nephew who is played by Jack Quaid. His name is Cole. And then, of course, there's Jane Levy, who plays Min, I believe her name is. And there's also Ray Gray, who plays Jade. Sea Oak was amazing, dude. It blew me away because I went into this series cold. They even have Max Casella. Do you know who Max Casella is, Steve?
I do know Max Casella, yes.
My wife and I were watching this and they're picking our brain, where have we seen him? And now I remember where Max Casella came from.
Do you remember, you knew immediately where you saw him from?
He's been in The Sopranos, I know that. But the very first time I saw Max Casella, he was in Doogie Howser. He was Doogie's best buddy.
That is where I saw him from. That is exactly where I saw him. Yep.
I mean, he looks the same. He talks the same. It was pretty funny.
And he even acts the way I would imagine Doogie Howser's friend growing up and being and acting. You're right. As soon as I didn't put it together, but yeah, Doogie Howser.
This show, I don't even, when I first started watching it, I was expecting something completely different. I did, like I said, I went in cold and I started watching it and I found it intriguing. It was kind of like a dark comedy that took a real, even darker turn, but it was even more comedic, I guess you could say. I hate that I can't spoil this one for you guys, but please go watch this show. What did you think of this one, Steve?
I liked it, and let me tell you why. I think a big one, without spoiling it, is I started to really be interested in Glenn Close's character, the character that she was playing. Amazingly, that's how good this woman is. She could play a character, give her 100% into this character, and you may only see this character for 20 minutes. She's in the show. This character's in the show for 20 minutes. It is insanity. It is such a good... I'm so glad that you told me to watch it. Because, and I recommend everyone going in cold. Don't watch the show and don't read the synopsis. Don't do any of that stuff. And do not get this confused with Red Oaks, which is another show on Amazon Prime. Remember, it's Sea Oak. Red Oaks is another great show, but Sea Oak is the pilot that you need to be watching on this platform. It's a very good show. However, there's only one episode and it's going to drive you crazy. Because it's going to take forever for them to come. It's going to take forever for them to make another one. It's going to be a good, maybe June of 18, possibly, maybe.
That's like waiting for when Doctor Who fans wait for the new episode, or that's like waiting for freaking Thrones or something like that. It's going to be a bit. And I'm telling you, when you watch this, you're almost going to be pissed that you watched it, but you're going to be glad that you watched it too.
Oh, so and that's the one thing. That's the thing that Netflix has over Amazon Prime, because what Netflix will do is they're not taking votes. They just release 12 episodes of something, and if you like it, good. If you don't, okay. They don't take, let's tease this out. No, Netflix is just like, let me drop billions on a bunch of shows and just see what hits. Amazon needs to start doing that. If Glenn Close is in your show, fund it.
Right.
There's no question. If she's in your show, the end. Start funding that show. We will watch it. Most people will watch it because she has no business on a TV show. We're like, what is Glenn Close doing on a TV show? And we're thinking to ourselves, well, if she's on it, that means she read it and said, oh my God, this is going to be a good show. Fund the freaking show, man. Don't put a pilot out there and say, will you like this? Yes, we will. It's Glenn Close. That's like, I mean, I don't understand it.
The answer to that question of you saying, what is Glenn Close doing on this show? She's making it freaking awesome is what she's doing.
The show is so good that if it wasn't Glenn Close and it was another actress that was good, decently good, the premise is enough to keep me watching.
It's right up your alley. I knew it would be.
Right up my alley, dog. It is right up my alley. And the fact that it's Glenn Close, in the last 5 minutes of this episode, she gives an Emmy-winning performance.
Blew me away.
I mean, gave me goosebumps. And I'm not going to tell you why, but it gave me like, whoo, like goosebumps. Yeah. I was like, Jesus.
I know. I almost want to do the thing that we do sometimes where we're like, all right, pause. And now we're going to spoil it. But no, not this one. We'll talk. Maybe we should talk about this next week.
Because some of you guys are and ladies and gentlemen are driving, and you won't be able to put pause quick enough for us to spoil it. So just trust us in saying go in blind. Go in blind, watch it, enjoy it, and tell us what you think. But that was a great pickup, Dan. Thank you for hipping me to that. That was a great pickup.
My pleasure, sir. I'm glad you liked it. Like I said, I figured it was like right up your alley. I didn't think you would be able to lose. I was just waiting for your text to tell me how it was. And the word wow summed it up right there.
I mean, the thing is, when you say something's right up my alley, those are the things that I'm immediately going home to.
I think I'm just going to start saying that now so I can get you to watch, even if it's not up your alley. I'm just going to say that because I know that you'll get right on it right away.
Oh, there's no, because I'll be like, why is he making me watch a football movie? I don't like foosball.
I don't like that foosball. Sorry, Mama.
No, Mama, it's
Mama Boucher.
Man, that is for you youngins. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what he's talking about. Maybe, I don't know. What else you been watching, brother?
So I caught another one that just sort of dropped into my lap, and I enjoyed this one. This movie is called Mayhem. This is starring Steven Yeun, who plays Glenn, the wonderful Glenn on Walking Dead. And I missed Steven Yeun. I like seeing him. He's a great actor, man.
And the thing is, that's the one good thing that I wasn't up on the comics. I didn't know that was happening, but it's literally out of the comic. That scene.
I read that and it blew me away to read it. You know what I mean? I know we're talking about The Walking Dead, but I when I read the comic, it just blew me away. To see it come to life was,
oh my God,
extremely disturbing for me. I know a lot of people. I remember looking at Facebook as this was happening, and people were losing their minds about this.
Dude. Well, it was because it was a people were already on the fence with Negan. People were already on the fence with him. They don't know if they liked him or not. So when he was like, oh, because remember that whole, normally Walking Dead does this thing where they tease it out and no one actually gets killed. So when he's walking around with a bat, you're like, yeah, whatever. But when he eeny, meeny, miny, moes and swings, and then it goes to you're like, who did he hit? Like that was the ill, and I'm sure I get why people are just like, because a lot of people watch Walking Dead because they don't want to go into that nasty, super duper 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 goriness. And Walking Dead just said, no, y'all don't get it. That Steven Yeun, when I see him, unfortunately, as soon as I see his face, I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh,
poor bastard. I know.
Now, is the girl from Mayhem, is she the girl from Babysitter? I didn't look it up.
Samara Weaving is her name.
Is that her? Is she the babysitter? Because when I saw the poster, okay, that is her. Okay. Because she has a very unique face.
Yeah, she is the babysitter, which is also a pretty cool one. I saw that one too, by the way. What did you think? You know what? I'm sorry. Let's stop because we haven't even started talking about Mayhem yet.
How was that, brother?
I liked it. If you've seen Belko Experiment, the Belko Experiment,
really bad, dude.
It's right up that alley. Let's just say that. So it's very Belko Experiment. I don't think that it's copying the Belko Experiment, and it's quite a different movie. I liked things about both movies, and I tried not to really compare them too much. But there's a very similar premise that's going on with this one here. Whereas Belko Experiment, do I want to spoil the plot of this one here?
No, because I'm going to watch Belko.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that to you. But I'm just going to read. I'll just read the very quick synopsis of this movie, and you can that should kind of help. A virus spreads through an office complex, causing white-collar workers to act out their worst impulses. Oh, that's really all you need right there.
Yeah, it's up my alley. It's over. When you said virus.
Yeah, the virus. And you love viruses and zombies, don't you?
Oh, dude.
And if they're together, even better, right?
Oh, I mean, well, technically, most of the time, that zombie thing is a virus, but sometimes it's not. Anyway, and like 28 days later, when people are like, that's a great zombie, they're not zombie. Anyway, go ahead.
They also call this one the red eye virus for obvious reasons, but man. I like this movie. It's kind of comedic. It's kind of like, it's in the action horror genre, but there's some really funny parts in this one. Steven Yeun's awesome. I loved the script of this movie more so than I did Belko Experiment, but there are aspects of Belko Experiment that I like more than this movie. That said, I'm going to give this one like a 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Because it was really entertaining, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it was also one of those movies, to be honest, where it's like, oh, this is what's going to happen right now. We kept doing that. This is what's going to happen. It was because it's fun. You're into it. You know what I mean? It holds your interest. But it is one of those movies like, oh, I see what's going to happen. So slightly predictable, but don't go into this thinking that you're going to see the next best movie that you've ever seen. Look at this as spending an hour and a half of just having fun. Fair enough?
Okay. What do you think I'm going to rate it? If I see it, what do you think you see me rating this what?
You tend to rate things lower than I do normally. So I think you'll go 3 out of 5 or maybe 2.5 out of 5. But that's not to say, folks, that you won't like this movie.
The thing is, I'm wondering, because I love J.K. Simmons is in the Belko, right? Is J.K. Simmons in Belko Experiment?
No, it's been a while, but I don't recall J.K. Simmons being in the Belko Experiment.
There's someone in Belko. If there's someone in Belko that made me want to watch Belko Experiment, and I forgot what it was. And Steven Yeun is a person that I'm like, I will watch that movie for him. There's always.
Oh, I know who I know that you want to see in it. John C. McGinley.
That's who it is. I knew there was someone. There's only a few actors that make me want to see something. McGinley is the one that made me want to see Belko.
And he's good in that one too.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's good in that one. I like these movies. I mean, they're fun movies. You know what I mean? And I'm always on this hunt to find a movie that not only scares me or disturbs me, but it can actually, be like funny at the same time.
Yes. Oh, both of these. Belko had John Gallagher too. I like John Gallagher too.
John Gallagher Jr. as Mike. Yep. Yeah. He's the main guy.
From Newsroom. Oh yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I liked him. That's what made me want to see it. It's and McGinley, but I liked him in Newsroom. So yes.
He's also in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Which one would you recommend me seeing first?
It's a good question.
Because one has to prime me for the next.
I say watch Mayhem first.
Okay. Will do.
Watch Mayhem first, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit more on the fun side.
Is it
so
on,
if that helps you.
Is it on demand?
It's on, yeah, you can get that on VOD. And it's actually supposed to be playing in theaters right now, too. I saw it VOD.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, check out Mayhem. It's on VOD. That is another thing Dan has been watching. What else you got, brother?
You need to check it seriously, guys. It's a fun movie. I'm switching it up a little bit, Steve, and I'm hoping that you can relate to some of this. Uh-huh. Because, as we've said, this is not only, it's pop culture, it's movies, it's television, it's also music. And we haven't really touched on a lot of music right now. Your music tastes are different than mine. Not that we don't connect on a lot of things too, yes. But there are certain, you don't really go into the heavier side of things, the rockier side of things.
How heavy are we going?
Not that heavy. I guess it really just depends on who you're asking.
Is it like
we're not. No.
Is that what we're going to be doing right now?
We're going to talk about the new dying fetus. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
kidding.
My God. Okay.
That's actually a real name, by the way, bro. That's funny.
I believe it.
It truly is, yeah. But no, this is. I'm talking about a band that a lot of people that aren't familiar with them, or have just heard the name for several. They tend to get shelved into this particular genre as like 80s hair rock. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is that these guys are still killing it to this day. I've seen them several times over the years. They always, there's never been a sold out show. There's never been not been a sold out show with these guys. You go to like Chile or you go to like Brazil. I mean, they're packing the houses with like 60,000 people.
It's crazy.
Easy. Any given day of the week. The band I'm talking about is Iron Maiden. Yes, that's right, Iron Maiden. And they're still freaking relevant. I love this band, one of my favorite bands. And what I'm talking about is just yesterday on YouTube, they actually they did a live stream of their up and coming live album that is called The Book of Souls Live Chapter. Last album they put out was called Book of Souls. I went to Vegas to see the concert and it was amazing with my buddy Mike. So it's really like their concerts, Steve, are very visual. So where, like when I'm saying, the 80s hair rock, back in the day, I know you didn't go to these shows, but when you went into for the purposes of this, a metal show, when you went into these shows, there, lots of pyro, lots of set detail, lots of props, that has always been like one of their main staples with Iron Maiden. They always bring it every single time. So people tend to think, oh, they're just sort of stuck in the past. But like I said, these guys are still making new music. The last tour was mostly originals, and it was all good shit. I mean, I loved it very much.
This is an interesting thing they're doing, because what they're doing, in my opinion, is normally you're going to go into a concert situation, and assuming it's a normal contract, I'm imagining, is you're going to get paid up front and to do a concert, and when you show up, you now don't owe that money anymore, right? They're saying, okay, here you go, such and such amount of money to come to Save Mart Center. The tickets go out, you get paid, or the tickets go out and it gives back the money to whoever's promoting the show, Live Nation or whoever. They're assuming they're going to get their money back, right? They've already paid the band. Now, if they pay me a certain amount of money, however, I feel this crowd to capacity and then some, the Live Nation is probably going to make more money than I did, only because they gave me an upfront amount of money. What is interesting about this situation is I'm assuming that they are now, it's a boundless amount of people that can stream this concert. I want to know, where is their cap for money? Like, are they going to charge for the stream? Or is it going to be at the movie theaters? How is that going to work? The
stream was actually just a bonus from the band. Like, hey, you can watch this on YouTube. They were tweeting about it. There's 1 hour, 1 hour left, half an hour left. It was free, but they took it down. Because Iron Maiden, see, that's the thing about Iron Maiden, is they're smart. Okay, I don't like the band Kiss, but they're smart like Kiss, where they know how to make money. They can freaking put their logo on. Okay, I have Iron Maiden Vans. If that makes it. I mean, they know how to market very well. But what they're doing is actually on November 17th, the Book of Souls live chapter is coming out, and it's got basically a 2 CD. I believe it's a 2 CD. No. I apologize. It's a double album is what it's going to be. But it's a deluxe CD, and it also comes with the concert video. That's the thing about them, is that they're always putting out. They're very. They're nothing like Dave Matthews Band, but like Dave Matthews Band plays a tour, puts an album out. At least they used to when I was listening to Dave Matthews Band. But they're always documenting their tours. So go ahead. I'm not to interrupt you. I'm sorry. So the stream, they streamed their live concert. People watched it, and then they took it down so no one else could watch it. Yeah, because only a limited number of people are going to be paying attention to it right now. You're not, they're still going to buy it. That's the thing about Maiden fans is, okay, let me put this into like a real situation. So I was at the Vegas show. Maiden fans are like no other fans out there, and it's just the way it is. I mean, it's known. It is known. But what it is, that was my Game of Thrones reference, Steven. You failed me. You failed me completely on that. Sorry. But it is known. It is known. So yeah, but people are literally going up to because there's like a fan club, there's these forums, and people will communicate from all over the world. Maiden is genius because they have what are called event shirts. So if they play Vegas, there's a Vegas themed shirt. They have this mascot by the name of Eddie. And I'm sure anyone that knows Iron Maiden has seen Eddie's like this skeleton looking dude or this like zombie looking guy. And he's been with them since they started. They can put Eddie on anything and people will buy this stuff. So they'll play Vegas. They'll have a Vegas shirt. They'll go to Los Angeles, or maybe they'll just do like a California shirt. You know what I mean? But there's just constantly putting out these shirts. So people from all over the world will get in touch with these people. I have a friend named Matt who's way into this. And he'll take orders essentially from people all over the world. They'll send him money. He's good like that. And he'll buy them shirts and then mail them all out. And in exchange, they'll do the same thing for him. Maiden fans are freaking rabid. So these people know how to do this, man. They know how to make money. They play the game differently. And I just think you find this interesting. I think you can appreciate this. They have had the same manager named Ron Smallwood for as long as I can remember this band being around. But here's the cool part with Iron Maiden. Bruce Dickinson, who is the lead singer, and a little fun, it's not really fun fact, it wasn't fun for him. This is his first tour since he actually was diagnosed a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, with throat cancer.
Oh, geez.
So he took time off. He found out when he was recording that album, The Book of Souls, took some time off, recovered from throat cancer, and then just immediately went out and toured the world. They don't just tour the United States or a couple dates here and there. They tour the freaking world, and these tours go on for like 2 years at a time. Here's the cool part. Bruce Dickinson is actually a pilot. He's a commercial pilot. So they have a Boeing 757 that he flies the entire band, the entire crew, all of their equipment, everything around from city to city. How cool is that?
That is crazy.
The same guy that flies the plane, sings for the band. He's a fencer. I mean, this dude is the shit. He's a DJ. He's an author now. He just wrote his autobiography. He's like, doing a book tour right now. If you haven't guessed, folks, I love me some Iron Maiden.
I don't listen to rock music like this. The most rocking thing I listen to is Boston, and that's not rock music.
You like the Foo Fighters?
I do, but is it rock or is it alternative?
I would dare to say it's rock.
You think so?
I think so.
You think
when I think of alternative music, I think of like a specific 90s sound. I know that they still have like alternative stations, but
they have that weird, there's one song that sounds like a commercial. And that commercial song is just like, oh, that's not a rock. It literally sounds like any song you can listen to. Every time I hear it, I'm like, that's such a commercial song.
You're talking about Big Me. Yeah, that came off of the first album.
But anyway, I was saying, what I was saying is, what is the difference between them, their fans, and Metallica and their fans?
I was going to talk about Metallica in a second, but it's just more rabid. You know what I mean? There's more loyalty to it, man. And I guess because they have Metallica's huge. I'm not going to even discredit their career. But Maiden, it falls into a whole nother category of just rabid fans. You go to these shows, you can be in Los Angeles, and it's like you're at a freaking soccer game. You know what I mean? Like, like the whole crowd is doing that kind of thing. They're waving flags. In the parking lot, it's like a freaking carnival. I mean, it's like a celebration. There is nothing quite like you know what? Back in the day, I think I went to just one of them, and I was not a fan of them, but the Grateful Dead, they had like a whole thing going on in their parking lot too.
They had they weren't rabid, they were loyal. They were
super, yeah, exactly. Very loyal. Follow. Maiden fans are rabid. They're all good people and things like that. You know what I mean? They come from all walks of life, but when you go to a Maiden show, you don't see anything but Iron Maiden shirts. If you're wearing something else, they're looking at you funny. I mean, it is a community.
Would I feel comfy going to an Iron Maiden concert?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that I would take you to an Iron Maiden. I would take you to an Iron Maiden concert, Steve. You'd be fine. But I would take you to one where it was like greatest hits. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they do that every once in a while. They'll do it where they have hit after hit, not radio hits per se, but they do have hit after hit. I would take you to something like that because I know that all of those songs were more palpable to like the general public.
Well, see,
do you know what I'm saying?
That takes me down to another rabbit hole because I've had way more friends say, Steve, you got to come with me to a Metallica concert. You'd love it. Only because you know so many of the songs, you would love their concert. No one has ever said, Steve, you got to come with me to a Iron Maiden concert. No one's ever said that. And even
I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised about that at all.
You think?
They're just not as popular. Even though they have this ridiculous fan base that's been around for, 30 plus years. God, yeah, 30 plus. It's just a different vibe. That's the best way I can put it.
Because that's very interesting. That is so interesting to me. Now I don't want to go way deep into this rabbit hole, but I am endlessly now interested because not in my opinion, I don't even know, I'm asking you. Is it a situation of Metallica's fans have more faith in how good their songs are outside of their circle, whereas Iron Maiden thinks their songs are good, their fans think their songs are good, but only inside their fan service? Like Metallica fans think the Metallica songs are good even to outsiders.
I hear what you're saying.
These songs. Do you think that's what it is?
I think I know what you mean. I mean, I'm not really sure, but what I could tell you is that if you were to put, without a doubt, if Iron Maiden was to put out a single right now, and Metallica was to put out a single right now, the Metallica single would just smoke it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just, they're a little more, like I said, they're a little more palpable when you hear them. Bruce Dickinson I love his voice, but a lot of people, it's one of those voices you kind of have to get used to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But whereas James Hetfield from Metallica he's been around for, no, that's not true. He really hasn't been around so much longer.
Not at all. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, but they've been more in your face. You know, back when we had like videos on MTV, you know, they did more of that. It's another band that knows how to market themselves. So they're just kind of always around, you know. But I would say Metallica would be a more popular band.
Yes.
If that makes sense. But the thing is that the loyalty is so hardcore for Maiden. It's a guarantee. It's a guaranteed sellout every single show they play.
That's what I'm wanting. Like, my thing is, if the songs are good, it would be like, okay, well, show me a good song. Like, I know there's Metallica songs that even though I'm not into rock, when a friend let me hear their songs, they were objectively good. I'm like, okay, regardless of if I like rock or not, this is an objectively good song. Like, I could tell if I walked out as a producer, if I produced a rock song and I walked out and they did Sad But True, I'd say I produced an amazing rock song. That's going to be palpable for all people that listen, be like, you know what? I'm not going to just turn the radio off. Even if I don't like rock, I'm not turning that off. Whereas if it's the true for Iron Maiden, someone should be able to be like, no. This CD is objectively good. You're going to like it because it's good music, not because of the rabid fan base, none of that. I haven't had fans be like, oh, no. You'll like it because it's just good music. Don't even trip. They're more, it might not be your...
Another thing about Iron Maiden that you have to understand in concerts is these guys they're older. I mean, they're pushing 60 easy, bro.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Those fuckers have more energy than most bands out today. I mean, leaps from the half stacks and just running. Bruce Dickinson is in amazing shape for his age, and this dude is just all over the place. There's a little hokiness to it sometimes. I'm not going to lie. You know, there's a few things that are... You see, here's the thing about Maiden shows. If I took you to an Iron Maiden show tonight and we watched it and you liked it and decided to come back with me again, you're going to see exactly the same Iron Maiden show. That's the thing about them, is that Iron Maiden tend to choreograph very well for their tour, and they play that tour to a T, much like it would be like think of like how like a touring Broadway play.
Totally.
You know, it's the same thing every single time.
Michael Jackson, he didn't veer off a song with the song list. Everything had to go a certain way because you have dancers. It was a show. So it's not like, let me go to this next show. Maybe he does a little twist on, no. It's going to be the exact show because that's what people are paying for.
Exactly.
This show. So that was an 80s thing where it's just like, no, people come to see this massive production thing. And I really am interested in knowing more because you put me on the Foo Fighters and you didn't even hesitate. You're like, no, you don't get it. They're just good. So I'm very interested to see if you could put me on the Iron Maiden. Maybe a CD I will like.
I don't know. I mean, we'll try it. We'll give it a go. But but you can't, it's like saying, hey man, I like chewing gum, but I also like tri-tip. You know what I mean? Like it's just so different. I would tell you what, I would be willing to give you a greatest hits. But like I said, it's more of an acquired taste. I would not be surprised if you didn't like them. But I have no reason to defend Iron Maiden. Like, no. Like, give it a try. Because Iron Maiden doesn't care. They know that the next show they go to, they're going to sell, millions of dollars worth of merch. Easy, every single time. Totally. They're going to pack the house every single time. Iron Maiden doesn't care. They're an established act, and they just don't care. They do what they do, which is why I really appreciate them.
I care. Like, for me, if millions of people like an artist, I want to know why. They can't just be crazy. It's not like it's just like, I would get where you tell me, you know what, you're not going to like Coheed and Cambria. Because I could also see where, okay, but that's not 18 million people. When you have millions upon millions liking a group, there's something I'll be able to tangibly take and be like, I like that. I get it now. Because it's not insane 18 million people. There's no way that's what it is. That's why I want to be like, I'm not a Green Day person, right? But I totally get, I wouldn't turn their songs off. I get why people like Green Day. I get why people like Nirvana. I get why people like Metallica. I get why people like certain groups. I want to get why people like, and I would tangibly get it. No question. If I heard this, I'd be like, It may take a few songs, but I'd be like, oh, I may not like them like they do, but I get why people.
I think that you would appreciate their musicianship. I think they're a huge guitar band. Let's just say that they've got a great drummer. That's why when you got me when you let me see Coheed and Cambria, I'm like, well, they could outplay most rock bands. Outplay. Like the dude on the guitar could outplay a lot of people. Claudio Sanchez.
He could totally which is why I'm like, why aren't they more like he could outplay, especially while you're singing. As a band, they're better than most bands. I mean, they're better as a band than Foo Fighters. Musically, as a band, Coheed and Cambria is better.
I would agree with you, yeah.
So I gotta hear what makes that group. That's why I'd be able to say, oh, I get why Iron Maiden is Iron Maiden. And why I get what takes them, because they're not better musicians than everybody. There's something that people latched on to. So that's what I want to get.
I agree with you with the level of musicianship with Coheed and Cambria, but again, it's kind of like apples to oranges if you're going to compare them to like the Foo Fighters. I will say this about the Foo Fighters and then we'll move on, because I you know what I'm enjoying? I'm talking rock and roll with my buddy Steve. This is a rarity, folks, a rarity.
Music is my thing, Jay. Like
it is.
Yeah.
But I love talking rock with you. It's something that we don't often do, to the point where I almost lost my train of thought, but here I'm back. I will tell you that the Foo Fighters, even though I love Iron Maiden and I think they're an amazing live act, like I said, you go see one show, you've kind of seen the whole show for the tour. Some people don't give a shit. People come to America and they'll tour from like Germany and they'll tour all the way across the country with them. I mean, I don't know where they make this kind of money to do those kind of things, but they do it. The Foo Fighters are bar none. Am I going to say this? Yes, I'm going to say this. They are bar none the best live act I have ever seen.
Holy crap.
I'm not joking. Seriously, because they can come out. There's no backdrops. Although they had a great tour last tour. But here's the thing about the Foo Fighters. I don't necessarily like every single one of their songs.
Okay.
I think they have 20 years of amazing hits that they can play. Love them or hate them. Mm-hmm. You cannot deny that they are just so goddamn good in concert. Dave Grohl, I'm going to give him most of the credit on that. And also Taylor Hawkins, the drummer. They just have like chemistry with themselves on stage as well as with the crowd. They address the crowd. They include the crowd. They change their shows up constantly. Every night the set list is a little bit different. They'll come straight out and be like, oh, hey, you know what? We were supposed to play like 2 hours tonight, but we're just going to keep playing. And they mean it. We're just going to play until the cops tell us to stop. And they will play 3 hours, 4 hours.
That's
sometimes.
Really cool.
They're like the Dave Chappelle of rock and roll.
And what worries me right now about the music industry is I wonder, are we going to get another Foo Fighters? Are we going to get another Metallica, Iron Maiden? I mean, let's go to the other side. Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. Are we going to get another? No, not even Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. Let's change that. I got a better question. Live performances. Live performances are a big thing. Are we going to get another Grateful Dead / Dave Matthews where people just go for the performance? They may not know the songs too much yet, but they just go see Dave Matthews because they know, oh, well, we're going to like him automatically. Do we have people that are going to go out and see something that they haven't heard on American Idol, that they haven't heard on the radio? Because Dave Matthews doesn't have a ton of radio hits, but he still can fill Save Mart Center. Grateful Dead didn't have radio hits except Touch of Grey, but they still were able to fill. Fish doesn't have radio hits, but they can slam pack Save Mart Center if they wanted to, or Madison Square Garden. Is that a thing that's going to happen now?
I think it goes in waves, but we're also at a different. By the way, I'm impressed with your knowledge of rock and roll, or even just that. Like, I did not expect you to pull out a Fish reference, so good for you, Steve. I'm not a Fish fan, but I'm impressed with your knowledge about it. I think it's really hard to say because I think that we're just in a different place right now.
Okay.
When it came to, for instance, going back to Iron Maiden or even Metallica for that matter, because, I'm a little bit older, I remember when there was a time where I would be waiting in line outside of the record store to buy the album, not like waiting to hit download on iTunes at midnight. So there was anticipation with these things, and they had these amazing album covers that were done. Now they had this artist by the name of Derek Riggs that did all of their work for Iron Maiden for a long time, and that was a part of the experience. Getting the actual vinyl and the vinyl album, and opening up the help me out. The liner notes is what I was getting at there. Reading the lyrics, seeing all the pictures, seeing the pictures from the tour, all of that. I really think that helped people associate with bands a little bit better. And anticipation built things up like that. But now we're this society of instant gratification. Well, see, if we want to know about, excuse me, I was going to say, if you want to know about a band, all you got to go is to, www. blah, blah, blah. And there it is. And you can read their bio. You can do all that. We didn't have that back then. So we built our affection up through like rock magazines and, just all that kind of thing. So it's a different type of a vibe now. I don't know if we'll ever have another Nirvana or another, Metallica, like you're saying, whatever, it's a different time. But I think that we could get back to it. But the problem is that there's a lot of downloading going on that probably shouldn't be. And that keeps people, that instant gratification thing pops back up again. And you don't necessarily work for it anymore. What were you about to say?
No, you got to wonder though, with downloading, I think instant downloading would have accelerated Dave Matthews' success. I think
perhaps
because remember they were giving out cassette tapes at colleges. Imagine if they were just able to download on the spot. I think that would have accelerated someone like Dave Matthews. It would have accelerated someone like Grateful Dead. It would have accelerated Fish. It would have just put them into the stratosphere earlier.
I'm looking at this to answer to kind of in the same vein of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at it from kind of an old guy standpoint because, I didn't take into consideration that a lot of these bands utilize Twitter. A lot of these bands utilize Instagram, Snapchat. That's kind of how they're communicating more so right now. Take, for instance, the band 21 Pilots. My daughter, I love 21 Pilots, but my daughter, that's her shit right there. Mm-hmm. And, she's one of the crazies. We sent her to Columbus, Ohio, their hometown, to see their shows and everything. So she's way into it. They have established that type of relationship with their fans. So I think by doing those type of things, that's where you're going to get that kind of a loyal fan base versus just putting out albums now. It's just different is what I'm getting at. If that's making any sense. That
is so interesting because, we're going into the rabbit hole. I just want, like, if I had a choice, I would love, and mind you, this is just what you just said. You could just look up stuff on the internet. I would love to sit down with the lead singer of Iron Maiden to just talk to him about how did you get your band, because he's the marketing director according to the info. I would say, how did you get, who came up with the logo? Because that logo, I don't even like Iron Maiden, but if someone was like, hey, who is that? I'd be able to rattle it off because I know that face. I know the logo.
The very familiar font.
Very familiar. And I would say, what made you, who came up with that? And B, how are you able to get over the hump of, there's a billion hard rockers from the 80s that are in a pool of, let's join up and do a summer jam with all of us together. You can't do that with Iron Maiden. How did you guys separate yourself from those guys? Because they could have easily become one of those dudes. They weren't out. But I think as a marketing director, he would have a lot more information on, well, here's how we marketed ourselves differently. I mean, to our fans even marketed ourselves differently. I would love to ask that of Metallica. Even though I don't know if they were a hair band, but I know that they stood out when I was young. They stood out aside from everyone else that all my friends were listening to. I would be able to tell a Metallica song away from everyone else. I'd be like, man, they sound different. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, they might not know because they're not the marketing directors. They wouldn't really know what they did, I imagine. They might just be like, oh, we just went out and played. Whereas the guy from Iron Maiden would be like, oh, I know exactly what I did. I know exactly how we marketed ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I would want to know because I think there's some gems there that people aren't really plucking from. I mean, I'm sure he has interviews on YouTube about music. Has anyone interviewed him and been like, marketing, how did you do it? For bands right now, they need to know that. Be like, well, we were able to separate ourselves like this. This is how we separated ourselves. This is how we made ourselves distinct from all the other hair bands. This is how we did it. I'd be very interested to hearing his, I would literally just be wrapped in endless, amazement in how, just from a marketing standpoint, how did they separate themselves from those people and not end up as a summer jam group? A summer, all of us, Poison, or not even Bon Jovi, Poison, what other hair bands, like they go on tour together.
Motley Crue back in the day.
Iron Maiden doesn't need anybody touring with him. They will fill a place by themselves. That's hard to do, G.
Let's put it this way. Iron Maiden tells bands, you're opening for us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like bigger bands.
And that's
They've had
massive,
huge bands.
Yes, exactly. See? So wouldn't you be interested in hearing how he did that? If he's the marketing director, he knows exactly how to market himself.
Bruce Dickinson, the singer, actually just put out an autobiography called "What Does This Button Do?"
Oh,
and
that's
interesting. There might be some insight in there, So, Hey, Steve, I apologize, my friend, but can we take a quick break?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
So, man, I didn't even mean to really we're back, by the way. I didn't even mean to take that, what I'm into, and just steal this big part of the show there. But apparently we both want to talk some music. So that's something that we could definitely do on one of the other shows. Yeah, for sure.
It might be next,
for sure.
It might be next week. We might have
expect a 5-hour show because I'm going to be off that day.
Oh, dude. All right.
So I'm sorry. I didn't want to steal all the time. Let me just tell you real quick. Lastly, I have not picked it up, but I'm thinking of picking this up. Speaking of Metallica, my favorite album of theirs is Master of Puppets. I don't think that there's a better album. That's one of my all-time favorite albums, period. I'll just say that. They re-released this album, they remastered everything, but what the cool part about it is, and I don't want to go down the road again, but they have an old bass player that died, and his name was Cliff Burton. They released, I want to say it's 3 or 4 different concerts in this box set with him still playing with them off the Master of Puppets tour.
Oh, cool.
And there's if you're a Metallica fan, this is kind of like a dream come true kind of a thing for, especially if you're a fan of the Puppets era, and the other stuff is just kind of I wasn't a big, Black Album, Enter Sandman kind of a guy. I kind of sort of wrote them off through the 90s. And I actually think that their newest album is called Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Not bad, but Puppets is where it's at for me.
Hey, they've had 3 bass players?
They have had 3 bass players. That's right. They had Cliff Burton. They had Jason Newsted. There's also some stuff with Jason Newsted, interviews. They have a lot of interviews on there. There's tons of. It's a big box set.
Yeah.
And then now they have a guy named Robert Trujillo who played
really
with
good.
Suicidal Tendencies and Infectious Grooves and Ozzy Osbourne.
He produced an amazing documentary that I saw about Jaco Pastorius.
About Jaco, I saw that. That was good.
Amazing. It had me. I'm not going to be a punk. I cried at the end. I even know Jaco was dead, but just seeing this amazing. So yeah, people. I'll tell you, man, that might be a good purchase. $100 isn't bad for your favorite band of all time, dude.
I won't say they're my favorite band of all time. I will say that is one of my favorite albums of all time.
But they are one of your favorite bands of all time, right?
The 80s Metallica was. The 80s Metallica was their first 3. I'm one of those guys, and trust me, they're a Metallica. There's got to be a Metallica fan listening. I'm that dude that just likes puppets and backwards. For me, that's my shit.
Well, my friend, I told him, he was going to try to get me into Metallica real quick. He's going to get me Metallica, and he wouldn't even
crash course.
He wouldn't even talk about because I was like, oh, I like Enter Sandman. He's like, I hate that album. I was like, you hate the album that actually I started liking Metallica? He's like, I hate it. Hates every song on the album. He only likes the album before it, I think.
Yeah, I didn't give that one attention either. And Justice for All was actually, in my opinion, their last great album.
Dang. Y'all some cold. I think it's because of that whole, everybody likes them now.
We're fair weather. No, that wasn't it, man. It was just a complete different sound. See, we're going off. We're going to start talking rock and roll again.
Anyway, let me tell you what I've watched. Okay,
so yeah, exactly. What are you into, Mr. Hudson?
Right, so this week I've watched, other than my normal everyday, stuff, I watched, last night I watched Happy Death Day.
What did you think?
Okay, here's the thing, man. Look. I liked it a lot, dude.
Me too. I really liked that movie.
I liked it a lot, man. I thought it was a really fun movie, G.
I caught that one a couple of weeks ago, man, and I was actually, I sort of knew what I was getting. You know what I mean? I knew what I was walking into. Essentially, it is like Groundhog's Day with a murder
pretty much
mystery on it. Pretty much. But I enjoyed it so much. Yeah, I would actually watch that again. Please proceed. I'm sorry. I felt strongly about it.
I thought it was I thought it was when I walked in. And I think Blumhouse knows how to do this. It made $40-something million on a $4.8 million budget, which is what they do.
Again, perfectly timed, by the way, for Halloween.
Perfectly, man. And the main character, named Tree, which is a random name. I thought that she did this amazing job of making me hate her. And then by the end, the same face that I hated, I dug at the end.
Me too. She was so self-absorbed at the beginning,
Totally.
which is exactly what they're going for. But I know what you mean. It's like, oh, this is like the most worthless person ever.
Totally. And normally by the end, you're like, it's a worthless person that learned a lesson. But no, her whole aura changed. Like, she was a different person. And I really dug how they did that, where it made her, hey, I'm doing the right things. Even though she continued to die, it didn't make her say, why am I even doing this? She's like, no, I want to be better. And it brought it, there are reasons that they kind of go into. But I liked how it was instead of just killing, their goal is to avoid dying. Her goal was also to be like, I need to be a better person. Now, obviously, it's a total ripoff of Groundhog's Day. And just because you mention it doesn't take away that it's a total knockoff. Just because you mention it doesn't take it away. You can't just be like, isn't this Groundhog's Day? Yeah, it is. No, but it's still a knockoff. You can't. I'm surprised that the screenwriter didn't be like, someone didn't call the screenwriter and say, hey, man, this is close. Like, this is mighty close. I mean, if anything, it was close enough that maybe they should have inspired by events written by blah, blah, because it was that close, G. They even had the whole, woohoo, that'll be a doozy part where that guy keeps on falling.
Or even when she's like, she's okay, sprinklers, guy's gonna fall. I mean, it was all the same formula. But why did it work though? It worked.
It worked because I was able to forgive it for that. I was able to forgive it, but I would consider this reboot adjacent. I think it's an interesting takeaway from, like, it's an interesting side thing from it, but a spin on it. But again, the ending to this movie, I normally could kind of telegraph what's happening. But this ending, I was like, I did not see that coming. That's interesting. I thought it was really well done, man. I really did.
Glad you liked that one, man. Folks, check this one out. It's a very fun movie. And it's another way to just kind of, well, I guess you don't really turn your brain off on this one, but it's a good way just to kick back and enjoy a fun ride.
Totally. The next thing I watched was The Babysitter, a movie on Netflix.
Yes, indeedy.
Again, I'll give you the synopsis. This kid has a babysitter. Babysitter is like the coolest babysitter known to man. Like, she can rattle off different sci-fi people. She could rattle off all these different names. They both are nerds. They both are into certain things. They can quote old Westerns together and stuff like that. And he thinks that he's really bonding with this older, amazing babysitter. And later that night, things turn very dark one of these nights. She's watching him, and he sees her do something that is, well, the synopsis tells you, it's a disgusting thing. And it's him trying to get out of this situation that puts him in danger. But it's a fun movie, ladies and gentlemen. Even though, I don't want to, the only reason I'm being kind of, vague is because I want you to actually see it. I think that synopsis gives too much away. I would have liked to be totally surprised.
Yeah, much like Sea Oak. If you say too much, you've already ruined it.
But I thought it was a fun movie. There's a lot of jokes that literally made me laugh out loud. Like, I don't really laugh at too many jokes. This kid, this young boy that puts the weight of the movie on his shoulders, squarely on his shoulders, did an amazing job. He's a star, I think. Would you agree or no? I think he's a star.
I think he was great. I was actually just trying to find his name to give the kid some credit here. Do you happen to know his name?
I don't know his name, but the kid was an absolute stud. And I thought that, him being able to, the jokes were on him. The lightheartedness were on him. When things turned dark, it was on him. Like, everything kind of hinged on how good he could carry this movie. And he did a fantastic job.
Robbie Amell's in this one from,
yes.
The Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to find this kid's name. Oh, there he is. Judah Lewis is his name. He plays Cole.
He did an amazing job.
Yeah, he was great. Check this one out too. I think we've seen some good
King
things
Batch
this week.
is into it too. If for anybody that loves Vine, King Batch is in this movie, and if you know his Vines, you'll find it. He's that guy. King Batch is the guy that you see in his Vines in this movie. He's very out there. The only thing I didn't like is he did the black thing. I don't like that. But he did a good job with what he was given, and his death was I kind of ruined it for. But look, you know that what happens to him is the first thing where I was just like, this? No, it wasn't the first thing, but it was the thing that really alerted me to, oh, this is gonna get ugly. It wasn't just there's one nasty thing that happens. No. This whole thing is gonna get, and so it's so unexpected. Check out The Babysitter. I think you ladies and gentlemen will definitely appreciate The Babysitter. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is something that you haven't seen, bruh. It's called The Killer. It's on Netflix. If you guys have a chance to watch The Killer on Netflix, let me give you the synopsis. It doesn't actually ruin anything. The synopsis is, in the lawless Badlands, reclusive Caballera sets out to discover the fate of his gunman father and grows to be a feared assassin himself. This movie is a hidden gem that everyone should check out. If you like gunslinger, assassin, Western type movies, this is right up your alley. There's no question. And I love, it's one of those that start off where it's have you heard the story of the blah blah? No. Well, sit down and let me tell you a story. And it goes into this story. But the twist at the end is so good. I mean, I really liked it. There's these gunfights that are, you know how normally it'll show a first person view of a gun so you know that someone's about to get shot in the head? Like It just shows you the barrel and boom? No. It shows the person's head like the bullet entering, like you got to go, and it puts the head from the side view, boom, and it shows the bullet hitting the head. It's just like, whoa, that is off-putting. But I think it really definitely accentuates the violence of this movie. So if you have a chance, check out The Killer. It's an international movie, so there are subtitles. It's in Portuguese, but the Portuguese language for me is very soothing. So I really like listening to it anyway. So make sure if it soothes you also, make sure you watch it while you're totally awake, because it's a really smooth language. So check out The Killer.
Did you fall asleep? Did you fall asleep watching this movie?
No, actually I didn't. I just was really relaxed. It was really a good watch. You would love this movie, Dan.
I'll check it out. You're getting like a sonic massage, basically.
Dude, you'll definitely love it. So
I've got some downtime tonight. I will check it out. I got downtime tonight. I will check this movie out.
You will love it. So that's it. And we are going to move in to a part that Dan loves. I love this part too, but Dan really loves this segment. And it's the news of the week, Dan. What
I do love news. Man, you know me and news. I just love it.
You got a lot of it.
They're like, what does Dan like? And it's you ask 9 out of 10 people, they're going to be like, news. He just loves news. I'm just kidding. I'm full of shit. I'm okay with news. Let's talk some news. I got some exciting news on my end, Steve, because I know how much you enjoy Star Wars. So I thought I would bring this up first. I know how big of a Star Wars fan you are, and I thought I wanted to make you excited today. So let's go ahead and talk about that.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This is gonna blow your mind. Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, is set to direct. That's actually the next one that's coming out, Steve, just in case you weren't aware. Okay. Dropping in December. He is set to direct and also produce a new Star Wars trilogy. Well, let me correct myself. He's actually set to direct the first of the new trilogy, but then he's also he's locked on to produce the rest of the trilogy. That's cool. And it's very cool. And what's going to be good about this one is it's stepping away from the Skywalker family, and it's going to explore a whole other part of the Star Wars universe that hasn't been touched. Personally, as a Star Wars fan, I'm actually quite excited to see, like something other than Luke Skywalker or a cousin of Luke Skywalker, anything to do with Luke Skywalker, God bless the man. But I'm just ready to see something else because I think that this universe needs that at this point. I think it's getting a little bit, it's getting rehashed a little bit too much. As much as I like The Force Awakens, I was ready to see something else. I want to see how this story pans out, of course. And we have a whole, another couple of years to go before we actually find that out. But I think that I am definitely ready to explore another part of the universe there. So very, very excited about that. It says Johnson is teaming up with Ram Bergman, his longtime collaborator, who, after producing the Johnson-helmed Looper, you saw Looper.
I did.
Loved it. I loved Looper, actually. I don't know if you liked that one, but I liked it a lot. And it's supposed to, I don't even know if they have like a set date yet, because obviously they're still writing. But this intrigues the hell out of me, and I can't wait to see it. Cannot wait, folks. December 15th, you're going to see some Last Jedi. And if I can have my druthers, I'm going to have Mr. Steve see this movie, and we're going to talk about this movie.
Oh, for sure. I think
if you don't, I'm actually prepared. I am prepared for this.
Okay.
And may have to bring in a third hero for this part here, sub-hero.
Oh, snap. Let's do it.
You know what I'm saying?
The interesting thing is they're giving they gave the helms to a fairly one would be called an unseasoned director. He's only helmed about 4 or 5 movies he's did. I remember Brick. I remember Looper. Now, Brothers Bloom was great, and I'm not going to count short films in or a long time ago or whatever, but major films, he's only helmed about 3 before he hit up Rogue One, which is insanity, dude. That's crazy. They really gave it to an unseasoned director, and I love the fact that they did it because he has a different eye. He did a few television hits. I remember him doing a bottle episode of Breaking Bad, and that was really those were really good episodes. However, normally Star Wars is given to a director that has not normally. I would say nowadays you would expect them to give it to a blockbuster director because that's what they do. But I really appreciate that they gave it to this to Rian Johnson. He really is. He's almost a man of the. I remember hearing him on different podcasts. He's like a man of the people, like not a man of the people, but he's one of the folks that you saw grow up through movies. And you're like, oh my goodness, now he's doing Star Wars. I'm really excited about it.
Hey,
I'll
brother,
watch it for that.
Just a small correction, sir. It was actually Gareth Edwards that did Rogue One. Rian Johnson is set to do the next one, The Last Jedi, that's coming out in December.
Oh, sorry. I mean,
no problem, brother. Just wanted to set the record straight. Since I'm setting the record straight, if you don't mind me taking just a second here, I was schooled, and I have to apologize about this. It's something that I said last week, and I didn't even realize I'd said it, but my son was the one that actually corrected me on this here. We were doing our little debate about Batman versus Iron Man.
Yes.
I had mentioned just in haste that Batman was trained by the League of Shadows is what I said. It's actually the League of Assassins. So for those of you out there that I, possibly had you throw your iPhone across the room at this idiot that's talking about it, I was aware of that, but I said it wrong. My son, informed me, hey, Dad, you're an ass. And so I'm just calling myself out. So there we go. We can proceed.
Right. Now, anything else about that news, brother, that you want to hit on before we move on?
There is a little more Star Wars news, but I'm going to go ahead and let you bounce one off of me now.
All right. Well, I'm just going to talk about the fall of men in Hollywood. Many men in Hollywood. We don't even have to get into all of them, but I mean, the big ones are Kevin Spacey, Louis C.K. Those are the 2 main ones that have been taken down this week, which is insanity. Because look, with Louis C.K., they've already dropped him from HBO. Netflix put out a thing saying we're not going to put out any more stuff, any more of his projects, which is out of this world. I mean, look, there was a thing for a CK that they ordered 10 episodes of a show called The Cops. It was initially developed by FX as an animated vehicle for CK and Albert Brooks. Come on, dude.
It sounded like it would have been good. It
has been suspended until further review. And obviously, here's the hard part with CK and Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey, they're scrambling to rewrite House of Cards. He's put this thing into a tailspin. And then the movie he's doing, they're going to have to reshoot it with a different actor, which is costing them $10 million. Now, with CK, the hard thing with that is he has Tig Notara's, he has Tig Notara's show. He has another show, a movie called I Love You, Daddy, that was coming out that they're going to have to now suspend that.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
You know what I'm saying? And there's another show called, I don't have it in front of me, but there's another show on FX with Pamela Agden. And I forgot what it's called, but these are people that aren't on, that were just trying to get work done. And now there's actresses, actors, writers, all these people are now kind of in limbo right now until they figure out what's going on with this situation with Louis C.K., not to mention Kevin Spacey. House of Cards is just done. How do you rewrite something around the lead actor?
They got to kill him off. That's the only way, right?
Well, that would take him coming in. They're gonna have to kill him off without him being on the show.
I wonder if they could get away. They would. Let me ask you: do you think that they would be able to use old footage of him? In other words, something that they had on the
it's too obvious.
The cutting room floor.
For us, it would be too obvious because we know what's happening. And by the way, a mistake. It's Pamela Adlon, and the show is called Better Things, and that's going to be. He's worked with her for years, and that's going to be. She already released a statement. That's going to be tough because that's a show that now is going to be in limbo unless he takes his name off of it. And his name is attached to a lot of these shows. But getting back to what you were saying, I think with the cutting room floor, I would say, why not just put a statement at the beginning of House of Cards? Be real. Be like, look, we're going a different direction in light of these accusations. We are not, whatever. Or have someone say something in the beginning because we're not dumb. We know what's happening. Don't put random silly scenes that don't exist into the movie. Just be real and move forward. You can even move forward with House of Cards without him. We are okay. We are smart enough. We understand that it's not the real world. We're watching a show. Just move forward as if he didn't exist. Game over. We're smart enough. I mean, we got over it with Roseanne. Brand new daughter. We just kept watching.
They're back, they were going to be doing, sorry to talk about that, but I read they're redoing Roseanne.
I hate
Or not
that.
redoing it, but they're bringing it back. But I wasn't like this total Roseanne watcher. I didn't watch it all the time. But didn't John Goodman's character die?
I don't know. I didn't watch the last part.
I'm pretty sure John Goodman's character, as the father, he died.
But I don't think he's back. Return. Oh, is he really?
No, he's back. I saw a picture of him around the table. Yeah, when they're doing the first read.
But she's a crazy person. Like she's her views are so insane. It's going to affect me watching her.
I don't really think I'm going to watch that, to be honest with you. But it's just something that stuck in my head when you talked about that there.
But so the fall of knucklehead dudes, it can't happen quick enough or enough. So more power to everybody that's calling him out.
How do you get that much work done? How does Louis C.K. get that much work done when you jerk off like that? Like, does he just rub one out, then go film something, come back, start rubbing it out again? Or, I mean, this man is the jerk off master, apparently.
Here's what I'm thinking. Here's my thing. What kind of person do you have to be to just have people underneath you and taking advantage of you? We're taking advantage of a person like that. I mean, and they've been saying it for years, man. They've been talking about Louis C.K. for years. And then Dave Becky, his manager, apparently has threatened women and told them, you better not say anything.
I didn't know. I had no idea Hollywood was this ugly. I mean, it is
ugly. Well, look at Marilyn
understanding.
Monroe.
But yeah, no. I mean, I had an understanding, but to see it all fully getting exposed week after week. Like when we first did this topic, like on the first show, I didn't necessarily think it was a done deal, but I had no idea. Like I almost wish we would have waited. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If there was a way we could have known that, because there's just I mean, you got George Takei now.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm going. Here's the only reason I kept it to 2 today is because I might just hold off until all the dominoes fall. And there's going to be a lot of dominoes. Idea. When we see the showrunner of Supergirl, showrunner of Flash, now you gotta wonder what is happening behind the scenes, bro, on those CW shows.
What's the showrunner of Flash's name? It's escaping me at the moment. Andrew, is it Kreisberg? K-R? Kreisberg? Something like that?
He's the part-time showrunner to Flash and Supergirl, atop more distant producing credits on Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. That takes down a lot of stuff, dude.
I just think he looks like Jared the Sandwich Guy. from Subway. I really do. He totally looks like Jared the Subway guy.
Oh, dear Lord.
Let's see, what else do we have? Hey, so have you heard about this Disney streaming service that's going to be coming out?
Okay. I couldn't wait to talk about this. Please go forward.
Well, you know what? If you know what's been happening over the last week, then you know why I'm talking about this here. And it's be more Star Wars news, Steve. Disney is developing.
Hold on, I got to go put cucumbers over my eyes and a towel and go to the other room and kind of chill out while you
want a
go ahead
pillow
and do
or
this.
something like that?
Please go ahead.
I'll make it quick, sir. I'm joking,
dog. I can't talk about Star Wars enough.
I'm sure. I mean, I can tell. You know, didn't you dress like Lando Calrissian for Halloween?
Because everyone knows exactly who that is. I know who that is. I mean,
you know who it is. That's why I gave it to you, man. That's why I gave you that reference.
I don't know.
If I would have said anything else, you would have been like, what the hell?
I don't know who that is.
Seriously?
Nah. Is it Billy D?
Yeah, see, you knew.
Oh.
You knew. Even if you didn't know, you knew. That's why I gave
knew
you
that it had to be. You're not going to say Han Solo.
Why not? You trying to say I'm racist?
I haven't said a word.
I know. I'm just playing.
Except I've said everything I needed to say.
Dan just exposed
Y'all
himself.
See me out there. Exactly. Y'all see me. Everybody caught that dog whistle.
Yo, Steve, you know I love you, man. You know how it is. Nothing but love coming from me.
I got it. Oh, I can't even talk about it. Go ahead.
You sure?
No, I can't because it goes into a whole different. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Fair enough. All right. So yeah, I'm going to make this one quick. Basically, they're developing a Star Wars series, which has been talked about for a long time, a live action Star Wars series. Again, hopefully it's going to be not related to the Skywalker family. I think this is going to be great. Should be developing. I believe that the Disney streaming service is going to start in 2019. So they've got some time to work with this here. They're also working on another unannounced yet Marvel series. So that can go either way. You know, I know you're not a big fan of the Marvel series, but you know.
I'm not. I'm DC, but I'm a Marvel movie person and a Marvel.
Right, but if we're talking like, say, you know, the ones that are on Netflix, you haven't really subscribed to them. You haven't really bought into it yet. So that's what I was getting at. And they're also doing a Pixar series too, which I can't get enough Pixar. So I'm a kid at heart. I love that stuff.
You like Pixar?
Yeah, of course, man.
I didn't know that.
All the Toy Stories, all that. Yeah,
really?
For sure, absolutely.
That's interesting.
But anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm going to keep that one short and sweet. Moving on to you, sir.
So we have Ellen Page put out a really cool Facebook post regarding what Brett Ratner said to her. I won't even go into details. Just gross. You know, on the set of was it X-Men?
I believe so.
Yeah,
X2 maybe. Yeah,
it's just gross. And Anna Paquin co-signed and said, "I was there when he said it. I remember him saying this." But the great news is that she has been tapped to helm a new show on Netflix that's been announced called The Umbrella Academy, and it's written by, and you know this person.
Yes, I do. Actually, that's pretty cool you brought that up.
Yeah. Tell them about it. Yes, please.
The Umbrella Academy is a comic series that's written by a guy named Gerard Way. We're talking a lot of music today. I like that. He's the former singer of the now defunct band My Chemical Romance. I was going to say The Black Parade, which is one of their albums. I'm actually looking forward to this. I've been meaning to read that. It's been out for quite a while, and I haven't read it, you know. But I'm a huge fan of Gerard Way. I support anything he does. I just haven't had a chance to really get to this one yet. So I like Ellen Page a lot. I mean, I think that girl can act her ass off.
Oh, so. Dude. I think, like, even the synopsis quote, it says, quote, Paige will take the role of Vanya, the black sheep of her dysfunctional family. She's the only one of Reginald Hargreaves' adopted children with no supernatural abilities. A meek and insecure wallflower, Vanya struggles to find her place in the world. I think that, and he says, quote, the series follows the strange members of a dysfunctional family of superheroes, including the Monocle, Space Boy, the Kraken, the Rumor, the Seance, Number Fives, the Horror, and the White Violin. I really am, unquote, I really am looking for that synopsis. I had no idea what the Umbrella Academy was. The reason I picked this article is because when I read the synopsis, I was like, based on that alone, I'm watching. Because that sounds very interesting, where she has no abilities at all, randomly. I really want to know how they actually work that out. Because normally they're going to pick the star to be one of the supernatural people. She's not, or one of the metahumans, I guess. But she's not that. I find that endlessly interesting, and I can't wait to see it. It's scheduled for, they said they has ordered 10 episodes. Amazon, please take note. Did you hear that, Amazon? Netflix has ordered 10 episodes of the new series. They didn't do Netflix has ordered a pilot and just seen how people are going to like it. Amazon, take note.
Do you think that they're going to continue to do this, or do you think they're going to get hipped and be like, like what you're saying, we could actually just do this?
They should.
Or do you think it's going to just be this drawn out process? It's so frustrating to me.
I know, dude. I think it's going to be this, dog. Jeff Bezos is a stubborn individual, and I think once he gets a thing in his brain, this is what's going to be. He doesn't want to do I think he wants to separate himself from Netflix, so he's just not going to do it. And I think he might see it as a waste of money, maybe, because Netflix is never going to turn a profit. They've gone past that. Netflix has understood that profits is never going to happen for them. So they're just going to put billions of dollars into good programming, buy a bunch of properties, and call it a day. Amazon, on the other hand, I think he's worried about the bottom line. And I think teasing out these shows, but it's always going to put him as the number 2 streaming service forever then. Forever. That's just what's going to happen. And if Bezos is okay with that, great.
Better get with the program, Bezos.
You dang Skippy. So what else you got, brother? What other news you got for us?
Well, speaking of Amazon, and this is right up our alley, Steve, and it was announced a little bit before, but I believe it was just a treatment or a pilot they were ordering, because you know how Amazon does. But this kind of actually goes with what we're saying here. Amazon has green-lighted superhero drama The Boys, written by Garth Ennis, to series with an 8-episode order. So I think you just got your wish right there, bro. Thanks, Mr. Bezos.
8?
8, yeah. I know it's not nearly enough, as we both know.
Come on, G. Come on, dog.
Based on the comic book by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson, it was created by Supernatural creator and Timeless co-creator Eric Kripke, and will be directed.
Behind it?
He certainly is, sir. He is. Does that excite you?
I'm a Supernatural fan, so yes. I didn't know Kripke was behind it. Oh, well, it's over. It's over. And
I know that you're aware. I know you're aware that it's also being, it's going to be directed by as they're putting it, the preacher duo of Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen. I know how that might make you feel right off the bat, because I can hear it in your breathing. But let me ask you something. Do you think that they have, how can I put this? Do you think that Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen have learned a few things since tapping into Preacher?
I'm optimistic about this only because what you just said, it changed the whole game. They picked Eric Kripke. And the reason they picked him is because they saw how Supernatural is, you can watch it and watch it and watch it, and it never gets old, because they're able to, they never run out of ghosts to create, situations to create. And imagine if he didn't have to create a situation. Someone already has the situation for him. All he has to do is make that dope situation just better. It doesn't matter who directs it. It doesn't matter. They just are going to pick a decent director, and you have a good person in Kripke. If you just let him run, I guarantee this show is going to be awesome. Now, one thing I hope Kripke understands is that he's not on CW. So you can now do whatever the crap you want to do. That's the main thing. I want him to actually take off, just let the wings fly and have a ball. Make it, that first book of The Boys, you have to make it as graphic as the book. You have to make the show as graphic, because that gives you a starting point of why The Boys exist. That first book shows
it's necessary.
It's necessary to be like, these guys have got to exist in this world. So I'm excited, man.
So I'm going to put this out there right now, Steve, because we've talked about this name before, and granted we don't have all the time in the world, but if this show does what I hope it's going to do, I think we need to do a podcast about it. And you know what I think we should call it? So I'm going to put it out there so no one takes this name. Your boys. Here it is. You ready?
Go for it.
Your boys on The Boys.
Oh, come on. That's awesome.
What do you think?
Awesome.
That's what
I
it
love
is.
it.
That's what it is. Don't take it. Anyone, you take it. I have recording now. So
Yeah, I think it's
not
kinda,
yours.
I think they can still take the URL, but I mean, I appreciate you putting it out there, so at least we can say we thought of it first.
But they'll know what they did, Steve. They'll know what they did, and they got to live with that for the rest of their lives.
Oh, totally. So if their thing grows to be 2 million, 3 million plus listeners a month, they will always feel bad about taking it from you, Dan.
Why you got to step on my dreams? Why you got to burst my bubble, Steve?
Feel bad. Be like, we really shouldn't take this check because Dan did say we told you. You're right.
You know what, man? Good night, everyone. We'll see you later. We'll see you next week.
Right idea. You did the right thing.
There is such a thing as editing, Steve, but I'm not. I'm going to roll the dice. Hey, man, I don't get paid to do this shit. I'm learning as I go. All right.
Did everyone hear this? Okay, it's locked in.
I'm an amateur, folks. What can I say? I think it shows. But anyway,
all right. Here's my
real
movie
quick,
script idea.
I got the secret. Don't tell anybody, all right?
Don't tell anybody. Since you all heard it, it's
just between us and the wall, all right? All right. Don't let it get out of your headphones. Good, hey, man, getting back to it really quickly here, I just want to tell you something. Because I think we should have flipped these stories around. Regarding The Boys, it's saying that it is part of Amazon's recent shift towards more straight-to-series orders and fewer pilots.
Ooh.
So they're working on it.
I didn't know that. Well, that's interesting. Okay, that gives me...
If you don't know, now you know.
I was waiting.
Yeah, but seriously, don't take my idea. Don't take my idea, people, please.
Do you understand how good of an idea, how good a news that is for Amazon to be like, we get it? I didn't think they'd get it. I thought Jeff Bezos would be like, skip you. I guess he gets it.
Money talks and bullshit walks, my friend.
That's true.
Hey, lastly, the series is slated to begin filming in the spring of 2018 for a 2019 release. This information was taken from Deadline.com to give credit where credit is due.
Wait a minute. Then when is Preacher being shot?
Preacher's being shot in January for a June release.
That sure is quick. How are they going? It's going to be shot and edited in 4 or 5 months?
Well, you know what? These are all like tentative dates.
And then they automatically go. It makes me wonder, where is Evan and Seth putting their muscle behind?
Where's their heart?
Yeah.
Do you think we're just getting 3 seasons of Preacher?
Totally.
I kind of do too, totally. But maybe they kind of do, and maybe that's why they're working on this here. I'm so pumped for it. I'm not going to sit and bash Preacher.
Oh no. I think they're doing the UK model because you know how like Luther or The Office or things like that. Ricky Gervais's is it Gervais's? Anyway, his properties normally go to, but I'm saying that belong to him.
Oh, gotcha.
Hit the possessive. I think he does 2 seasons, 3 series, or or what they call series, like 2 series, 3 series. Luther, 2 series, 3 series. They don't go into 8, 9, 10. So maybe they're doing the whole, let's do 3 and done, 2 and done. And it might be smart because it leaves you wanting more. I could still watch Ricky Gervais. I still like watching it because I know that it's only going to be like Extras is a great show, but it's 3 or 4 seasons, 3 seasons, I think. And a special. So maybe that's where they're getting this idea, because normally you get more than 3 seasons of a thing, but maybe because even Better Call Saul, do you see that going 6 seasons?
I mean, that's a long time. You know what I mean? That's a very long time.
He has to meet up with Breaking Bad at some point.
Right. That's what I'm getting. That's a very long time to keep running the show. Exactly. So I don't think so. I really don't think it would go that far.
I think they're doing, that might be a thing AMC is doing, because if you're hypothetically, let's just say you're losing a little bit of money over 3 seasons because you also could make money on the Netflix side. So it might be profitable. So, we'll see how that goes. All right. So brother, I know you're a Deadpool fan.
I am a Deadpool fan, Steve.
So he is on the cover of a magazine. Would you like to guess what magazine this is?
I assume that it's not Hustler.
You're going to be a good assumption.
Why don't you go ahead and tell me?
Good Housekeeping.
Nice.
He is the guest editor of Good. Let me tell you why. So, quote, this is from the editor-in-chief of Good Housekeeping, Jane Francisco. She says, quote, Deadpool's persistence to be in Good Housekeeping was impressive. Initially, we had no idea who he was, let alone that he was a fan of the magazine. But after repeated attempts to ignore his passion, we came to compromise. He could appear in one issue if he promised to stop leaving care packages at our editors' homes and agreed to maintain a 50-foot distance from the Good Housekeeping offices and our staff. Good Housekeeping is in on the joke, bro, and I'm loving this. Because they could risk losing readers, G. He's on the cover.
Was this like an idea of Ryan Reynolds to do this?
They don't say. They just said, I guess it was a thing where they both decided to do. I'm assuming that if they're smart, and I'm giving Good Housekeeping the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to assume that they realize that they don't want to be a Fox News where your average, watcher is 70 years old. You want to be like, okay, look, we have to get people in their 20s and 30s. If we're going to continue this magazine, we need to have readers that are younger, which is obvious. And so they said, well, this was not only this wasn't a casual, gradual shift. This is a 90-degree turn. Like, they did this all of a sudden, and it's great because it says, speaking about his guest editing gig, quote, Deadpool says, quote, after years of weekly emails and countless carrier pigeons, Good Housekeeping finally returned my calls. And while it's a dream come true, apparently we have vastly different opinions on the definition of holiday spread.
That's pretty risque for them, man. Now, obviously, I don't read Good Housekeeping. I don't read that, but that's pretty amazing that they're doing something like that. And it's definitely going to keep them, for at least that issue, out of the back of the bin at the dentist office.
Dude, I can't believe that's happening.
Holiday
it doesn't
spread.
seem real.
I love it.
Because I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this is fake. And they kept on reiterating in the article, no. This is a very real thing that's happening. And
did you tell me when that one's coming out? The holiday one. So it's coming out real soon.
Is it not insane?
I love it. I think it's great. I'll probably be the only Good Housekeeping magazine I ever pick up. I'll be honest with you.
Will it though?
I don't know. Maybe I'll start picking them up regularly after that.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're hiding I've seen your iPad. I see what magazines you're into.
I do love to keep house, so it's possible that I might just find myself in a whole new obsession. You know what I mean?
You're the only man I've ever heard say keep house.
Well, I never say keep house. I was just going with housekeeping.
I don't know. Dude, you're freaking me out here, bro.
I'll be like, Steve, hold up, man. I got to go keep house real quick. I'll be right back.
I do like keeping house. I like cleaning up. Jeez. Freaking Mary Poppins over here.
I don't use vacuums. I just scare the dirt out of the carpet. God damn it, like Chuck Norris would.
Do you sing to birds on your windowsill?
What did you say?
I said, do you sing to birds on your windowsill?
Like ha 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 ha. Yeah, I do that shit. Sometimes I just open up my windows and like deer and shit just come up to me. Hello there, little woodland friend. I already
know. And I know your kids are like, Mom, he's doing it again.
Yeah, we almost got divorced over that back in 2010, but she's over it now. So she's good.
Over it now. Cool.
Yeah, because the deers and the birds and everything were shitting all over the porch, so she was not down with that. And
good
I was
thing
busy.
she has a man that keeps
keeps
house.
So well, now I do. That's why I'm keeping house now. That's what I'm saying. It's all coming full circle, is what I'm getting at.
I only have 2 more stories, and both of these are only reviews. Okay,
go for it.
Are you looking forward to seeing Big Daddy 2? Or, I'm sorry, Daddy's Home 2?
Not at all. Not at all.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to ruin things for you.
I'm pretty sure that I'm not looking forward to it. I'm
going to read just a few of my favorite terrible reviews of this.
Go for it.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, number 1. After enduring last week's lousy and lazy A Bad Mom's Christmas, I would have bet it would be many a year before we'd see another holiday comedy more sour and cynical and profoundly unfunny. I sit corrected. Jesus, dude.
To the point.
Jesus, dude.
To the point.
Right to the point. This one is a bit more harsh. A vacuous and generally indifferent effort that lacks even the watered-down spark and inspiration of its ho-hum 2015 original story. Sorry, Sofia Coppola. This seasonal comedy sequel is a fruitless, frustrating nothing burger of tired, dysfunctional family tropes and conservative-minded family values. Seemingly made to push the bottom line more than for any creative incentive, returning to co-writer San Andreas produces a wonderless, unimaginative humbug of a comedy, one that comes with all the appeal of slushy snow and goes down about as smooth as spoiled eggnog.
Oh, damn.
Gee, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, the only reason I'm reading these is because, like, are these not abnormally harsh?
They're poetic, brutal reviews.
And I have an idea of why that is.
What's that?
People aren't buying Mel Gibson, G. That's the only reason I want to read this. Mel, no. To everyone that is giving him a second shot, people aren't hearing it, G. As soon as they see his face, his jokes just don't come off as cutesy as they used to. It just doesn't.
It's over, Johnny.
We know what it's over. All right, now, the one more is, are you looking forward to the Justice League? If so, I have some good news for you.
You know, I am looking forward to it. I'm not exactly sure we're going to get something better than Thor Ragnarok, but I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Well, let me read for you a few of these, because we have critics which we want to be very soon. We want to get to these early screenings, but people have seen it. They've actually seen this movie, and they have a few opinions on it.
So didn't the embargo lift on that one? Is that why you're able to give these stories?
No, they can only say tidbits. They can't give a full review. They can't give a full review. They're still under embargo.
And the movie's out this week, right? On the 17th, I believe?
Yes.
So it's going to be happening in the next few days.
Totally.
Gotcha. Go ahead, sir.
So, Sci-Fi Wire says, so I saw Justice League twice. Still under embargo, but this is a fun superhero flick. Funny, but still hero adventure. Reminds me of Justice League Unlimited ep. Likeable interaction amongst recognizable heroes. There is a villain problem. No worse than Marvel's. That's not bad.
Not too bad.
Connor, I can't even say his name. Swedfeger said, Justice League is clunky and uneven as hell, but it also gets the characters right and has a lot of fun along the way. When it's over, DC's vision for these heroes going forward will make sense. It's a very small but very vital step forward.
Not bad at all. It's better than a shit sandwich or something like that.
It's not bad, exactly.
Or nothing burger.
And the last two I'm going to read, the nothing burger. The last two I'm going to read is one from Josh Dickey. He says, nothing could save Justice League from its loud, ugly, tacky self. Not Wonder Woman, not wide-eyed Ezra Miller, not Joss Whedon's quippy teardown and rebuild. And here Henry Cavill's mustache is an unusual issue. They gave him uncanny valley face. Oof, guys, it's a rough ride.
See, that sounds, but that sounds super honest. That one sounds.
That is the one. I was waiting to see if you were going to, I wanted to give you a bunch of good ones. And I was like, I bet you Dan is going to be like, that seems like it's more right down because when you have to CGI someone's mustache off, that's a lot, dude.
So I was going to, okay, when you said the mustache thing, so he has a mustache that they CGI'd off.
Yes.
So was he as the mustache for another movie or something like that? Because it seems to me
he
like you could just put a fake mustache on.
No, it was over. The shooting was over. He had to come in for
reshoots. Gotcha.
He did. Yeah, and I know that for Mission Impossible, he's in the new Mission Impossible, and he has a mustache in that movie. So I'm assuming it's for shooting Mission Impossible.
Understood. Okay.
And so the last one is from Peter Soretta. I like Slash Film, but he says, and normally Peter Soretta from Slash Film is very nice. He likes everything. So this is and again he likes this, but quote, Justice League is better than expected, but not a home run. The interaction between the team is a lot of fun. The film sends the DCEU in a hopeful direction in line with where the brand should be headed. Flash and Aquaman steal the show. Cyborg and Villain are the weak links. That's it, dude. What do you think after all those reviews? What is your baseline?
I'm still looking forward to seeing the movie just because I like to make my own decisions about these things. Mm-hmm. But okay, just by going off of the trailer alone, I'm not into the color schemes. I know it sounds lame, but I'm not. It's just too. It's not even the color scheme, Steve. It's more of it just looks like it's 100% CGI. to me.
It is. Cyborg still looks bad.
And Cyborg looks terrible. I'm hoping.
So does Iron Man. What kind of astronaut suit is he wearing?
Why are you hating on Iron Man again, man?
I mean, not Iron Man. I'm sorry, Flash. Why? What kind of astronaut suit is Flash wearing? Like, why?
I keep going back and forth on that one there. I think that I'm hoping. Well, I have no idea actually, but I'm actually hoping that Ezra Miller is going to be the one that steals the show. We've seen Gal Gadot do her thing. We've seen Ben Affleck do his thing. I know you're a Momoa guy and you wanted that to really happen.
It's the dude right there, bro.
But I'm thinking that Ezra Miller's going to steal it. And getting back to the suit, for some weird reason, it's kind of growing on me. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, no. I give me Barry Allen from CW. That's who should have been in the movie. That's just my opinion. And it's never going to change. But if we're dealing with Ezra Miller and we're dealing with a different Flash, at first when I saw the suit, I thought it was the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. But it's somehow growing on me. And I'm thinking that if the acting is strong enough and the character, comes out enough, I don't think I'm going to be paying that much attention to it. And then also, what can the suit do?
That's
maybe
true.
They're going to do something with this suit that just makes oh, I get it now. I understand why the suit looks this way.
I hope so, but I think the big thing about Flash, that is because he doesn't really need his suit to do anything except stop it from disintegrate. Like, he doesn't really need it except for disguising himself, and it's a suit that won't disintegrate at the speed he's going.
Well, if we're talking about CW, Cisco's got a lot of things built into that suit.
Exactly, but there's nothing. When does he use that really? He only used it against Reverse Flash. He used a few things, and one of the things, it actually worked against him because they were able to use the electricity against him, and he's like, disable all of this.
We'll see. I am very curious to see what comes up. I'm looking
forward. I'm going to see it. I can't wait to see it, but
I will see it next weekend for sure. I thought this would be a good lead up to what we're talking about here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Momoa just teased. Now you know that he's working on he's involved with the Crow reboot.
Yes.
So he just put out a picture recently I believe it was on Instagram, teasing that it might be starting the production now. It was what do you want to call it? Like a concept art of what he could possibly look like. Kind of blurry. I wouldn't, I went there thinking it was going to be something where I'm like, oh, that's going to look pretty cool. It's, if you can picture the Crow in your head, that's what you're picturing. You know what I mean? It's very, very similar, kind of a sketch that's drawn. But yeah, he started, he's getting excited about this one now. You know what I mean? So this is going to be the one that I think he's going to start tackling and promoting after all this Justice League business is done.
Wow. What do you think about that?
Well, Steve, I'm glad you asked, because I think that is a perfect time to bring up the subject of the week on the Heroes of Noise. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Let's do this, Steve. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second part of the show here. We got about another 20, 30 with you. So, Steve, I wanted to talk about, is Hollywood out of ideas? Because so many reboots are coming out and so many rehashed ideas. Are reboots Hollywood's solution? Are they putting a Band-Aid on things, or are they stitching this bitch up? What are your thoughts on Hollywood's state of affairs? And, are we out of ideas?
All right. Here's my thought. That's a very good question, as a matter of fact, and I've been pondering this for a little while. I'm going to go in an interesting direction and say that Hollywood never had good ideas. It was always the people, always us, that had great ideas. It was always people that walked into those offices with amazing ideas. It was Spielberg with amazing ideas. It was Coppola with great ideas. It was Spike Lee with great ideas. It was people like that with these brand new ideas that came in wanting to do something brand new. Problem is, now Hollywood is a blockbuster society. So now they only want blockbusters. And Hollywood wants blockbuster ideas. And what's better for a blockbuster idea than to rely on another blockbuster? A surefire blockbuster. They decided that instead of making good movies, they want to make good money. Instead of actually making something that lasts a long time, they wanted something that would be like, hey, money to burn. Let's put more money. We got to make more money. Some of that are these amazing producers or a director's fault. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
If it wasn't for Star Wars, the blockbuster wouldn't be now. If it wasn't for Jaws, a blockbuster wouldn't be a thing. They didn't know that could happen until Jaws and Star Wars. They didn't know something like that can happen. So if someone sees, instead of making $400,000 a day, we can make $1 million, $2 million in a day, and people would literally line up around the corner. Now Hollywood is thinking, how can we duplicate that? I know, let's make more Star Wars and more Jawses. Let's just keep on doing that. Well, Friday the 13th is really scary. Well, how can we do that again?
What if we made 13 of them?
Bingo! What if we just made a bunch of those? They're like, okay, well, let's make Exorcist. Okay, let's do that. Oh, but you know what? We won't have the original group that put it together. So what? Just let's stamp Exorcist 2 on it. People will come to see it. They did, and it sucked. But they're like, all right, well, they didn't learn their lesson. Hollywood never had the good ideas. The people that need to be in those offices can't get past the security gate. They're not looking in the right places. When you let people in, look at Shonda Rhimes, Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder. She made Thursday her own because she got past the front door into, the office. When you look at these people that, literally work their way up through the Hollywood system and made movies. Look at Rian Johnson. He's about to make a freaking good movie, a Star Wars movie. They saw almost like, oh, maybe they got it. But then you got to realize, nope, it's a part of another universe. They still haven't learned that. We'll let them make something new. What's the last? Look at Happy Death Day. What we were just talking about. Why?
You're right. It's been done before.
It was good. But literally, it is such a specific premise that you've seen it before. Why would you reach to that premise that's so specifically Groundhog Day? Oh, I live the same day every day. That is such a specific premise. where you got that from. So even something that I thought, oh, that's a cool idea, is still a grab. The only thing we have that's not really a reboot are a lot of the Blumhouse films. No reboot. A lot of the independent films. But Hollywood en masse, it's over, man. I don't think we're going to get a resurgence of original ideas because Hollywood ain't got them. That's my take. Seems
to me like, well, I'm right along with you there, but it seems to me like the way that could be remedied is by getting new blood into those offices.
Totally.
Past those security gates, so that way you can have new, inventive, hungry people that have these ideas that they want to do. Totally. You like to give me a lot of shit in a fun way about Star Wars and things like that. But even when it comes to that, I'm at the point now when Disney bought that, and I'm still feeling that way. It's like, okay, this is going to last for a while, and this could be very, very cool. You've managed to hook me in because you grabbed onto a franchise that I have love for. But at some point, I'm going to be like, enough's enough. I just will. There's no freaking way that you're going to be able to make blockbuster after. Well, okay, let me explain that. Let me rephrase that, because you put Star Wars on it, it's going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars. We know this.
Totally.
But is the quality going to be there? And is it going to encompass what Star Wars is about, I guess you could say? You know what I mean? Is it good? Because, it's a whole different time now, and we have a whole different bunch of kids that are growing up with this thing. So I know that that's probably what they're working at. Well, we can just do what we did with all of you middle-aged guys to all these kids now, and hopefully just keep it running. But to me, Star Wars was a love project for George Lucas, and he finished it out, and he also, in my opinion, crashed it into the ground with the prequels.
Yeah. But it's his. He can do what he wants.
Exactly. Yeah, it's his, totally and he did it out of his love. So now we just have a bunch of people that are coming in, you got your J.J. Abrams who grew up in that, it seems like they're taking directors that are our age that grew up on Star Wars, and they're trying to hopefully recapture the magic that way too. But a fact is still a fact, and that is that at one point, it's going to be too much. They're going to hit a brick wall eventually. And it's like, do they even really want to go down that way? Because I believe what the original statements were saying, it was like, it was going to be, we're just going to keep putting out a Star Wars movie a year for who knows how long. In my mind, I feel like that's just saying until we crash and burn. And then we'll grab onto something else. Marvel,
Oh, man.
At some point, is Phase 4 going to work? I mean, are we that involved with it that they can just continue to turn out these amazing movies? Whether that's your opinion of these movies or not, will they be able to, is it always just, at what point does it become mediocre?
Yes.
And that's the thing is like, I like lemonade. I love lemonade. But if you keep putting water into the lemonade, eventually it's just water.
Totally.
So,
I mean, for me, even if, okay. No, go ahead.
No. I mean, that's essentially it. It's just like at a certain point, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's going to become a watered down version of what the original product is. Is it worth it for the buck? Obviously, some people are going to say yes because they've got big homes and cars and whatever, that they want to continue to have this ridiculous lifestyle that this type of business gives. But is that what is going on, or is it just being done for those people and it's being fed to us like, you like this, right? You like this, you'll keep buying it, right? It's the same thing. Just keep buying it. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. I mean, and mind you, I don't mind if someone comes up with an original idea and decides I want to make another one to see what happens to these characters.
Sure, absolutely.
More power. But when Hollywood is just like, we're going to keep rebooting these blockbusters because we have no better. Imagine if, like nowadays, if Citizen Kane was made, you don't think they'd make a Citizen Kane 2?
It just all depends. It's the Field of Dreams analogy. Like if you build it, they will come. But
they will come.
But will they after a while? That's what I'm wondering.
I think they will, as long as we keep giving them. Well, I don't know. Again, you got to wonder. Like it was just to use your analogy. If you have lemonade and it's the best lemonade ever, even if you have that same lemonade for 3 years straight, you're gonna get sick.
You get tired of that lemonade.
Totally. But if you even if you have the opportunity with that lemonade, but you also have other options, you would go to other stuff. Is Hollywood giving people other options? That's why I think Blumhouse is so important. It's giving people other options. Like instead of seeing a blockbuster movie, you can see a Get Out. Instead of seeing this monster blockbuster reboot, you could see a Happy Death Day, which is a reboot, but it's at least something trying to do something different. And it's not a reboot of a blockbuster. It's a reboot of something a lot of people probably haven't seen yet. You know what I'm saying? I think Blumhouse is really onto something. They're giving these directors free reign to do whatever they want with a minuscule budget.
That's it right there. It's the free reign that they're given that is making these movies succeed.
Bingo. And it's not even with $4.8 million. A lot of that, the reason that it makes a difference is because if I gave $4.8 million to Steven Spielberg or Ron Howard, they'd be like, this is literally my per diem for lunch for a week. But if you give $4.8 million to Jordan Peele, he can make magic because it's a lot of money to them. They're like, oh, we can find people, editors, this and that to work within this budgetary restraint. But you can't really do that in the Hollywood monster system because you have to spend that money. When you have $84 million, you're going to start throwing money around. You know what I'm saying? But when you have $4.8 million, everything has to matter. Everything has to matter. The shooting has to matter. The extras have to matter. The clothes has to matter because everything's on a budget and everything matters. So I think more people need to follow their dreams and do a Blumhouse. Just do it. You can. If anything, this is the perfect time for people to jump in and do something brand new. This is your shot, man.
For sure.
Do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're itching. We're not the only ones in the world itching for a new thing. Go out there. Do a dream. And if it's like, I couldn't do it, I'm just gonna do this. No. Do it. I mean, Jason Blum isn't 100 times smarter than you. That's for daggone sure. And people are itching for a brand new thing. There is someone out there saying, I could have done that. I could have done Get Out. I could have done this movie. I could have done Paranormal Activity. Well, then do it. I'll watch it. Dan will watch it probably, maybe, if he's not busy with Star Wars and other blockbusters that suck out money.
That's pretty much all I do. Yeah, that's all I do, Steve.
That's what it's your thing. But Hollywood isn't where the ideas are. It's with us. We have the ideas, man.
Even if you're looking at something like, say, let's talk horror for a second. There are awesome stories coming out of, like, say, No Sleep podcast, which, of course, we know. There's the No Sleep Reddit,
Dude.
There's so many genuinely scary stories that I've listened to.
Genuinely scary.
Like, I would love to see this be made. Again, talking about Pen Pal.
Totally.
Why is Pen Pal not made? You know what I mean? But no offense to Momoa, someone wants to reboot The Crow. Okay?
Yes.
Now, personally, I know there's quite a crowd that loves The Crow. But why rehash it?
Exactly.
Why?
I mean, you got to give it to Amazon. They did listen to lore. The right person listened to lore, though. I mean, a few episodes in, he had a TV deal. But I don't know if it's working that well because they're not doing it how lore's supposed to be done. I think it's not supposed to be a narrative. It's supposed to be an actual show. Skip the narration. Just let it be a person's walking and this happens. That's what we want to see. We want to see a no sleep. We don't necessarily need a narration. We want to see these things come to life. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think, but even that we're even talking about these things happening, the fact that lore is a show is good. That's what we need. We need, hey, let's turn this podcast of these people doing really cool stuff into a big screen event. I mean, even look, these people that are streaming concerts to movie theaters, that's even important. You know what I'm saying? Let us see something different. Something that we haven't seen before.
New energy.
Maybe it's new energy, man. I'm done with the blockbusters. I'm done with them. I mean, I'm gonna obviously go see them so I can comment on them, but I would any day of the week, I would much rather see a low budget, something like The Killer. I'd rather see that any day of the week than a Batman versus Superman. Easy.
Oh, I absolutely feel you. And I know that you were just giving me shit about only going to see Star Wars and blockbusters. I know you're kidding. I mean, this is a dick move, but I knew you were kidding. No, I'm just joking. No, but seriously, like, I mean, one of the best movies that I've seen this year, in my opinion, was The Big Sick. And
that was a good movie, dude.
Yeah, I really, really love that.
We never got to talk about it.
No, but I love that movie. I mean, I had emotions in that movie. Do you know what I'm saying?
So did I.
And that was something different. It was something that was low budget, and it just smashed it. It was great. As a matter of fact, folks, if you haven't seen The Big Sick, well, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Go watch The Big Sick. But it was something that was nuts. It was you know what it is? So but it was just a story about life. You know what I mean? And it was coming from a certain perspective. It had a certain a great storyline. There were several, it was like a multifaceted storyline. It had to do with culture. It had to do with being ill, and that's something that's awesome. But then you just, or let's make another Halloween. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it's, exactly. Hey, you know what, man? I know people are just doing this. They got to put food on the table and everything like that. But I'm really hoping that at some point, Hollywood gets behind that there's still, because there are still so many fresh ideas out there.
Totally.
And you know what? You can even sort of recycle that. I mean, maybe now it's time. I'm not opposed to sequels, Steve. I actually like sequels if they're done correctly. But maybe it's time to start a whole new wave of new stories so we can actually get those sequels as opposed to rehashing another Star Wars or, Indiana Jones 5 or whatever the hell else is coming out right now. I think that Hollywood's in a bit of a rut right now, and I'm really hoping that they can get past that and give us something else, a new renaissance of movies.
Yes, and in closing, bro, I just want to speak to whoever is listening to this with a script in front of them that they never finished, with a camera that they never used, with a backdrop that they're like, maybe I can't do this because their parents are telling them to go to school and become a doctor. I'm probably going to be the worst person to give you advice, but just follow your dream, dude. I promise you, as a 39-year-old man, I would have never regretted going full bore with my dream. I promise you won't regret going. If you go full bore with your dream, crash and burn, at the end of your life, you could actually say, I tried.
Yeah, at least you did it.
And all that fun, at least you did it, dude. All that fun and all the people, I guarantee that sitting around that table later on talking about the crash and burn, those stories are going to be awesome. Remember when we shot over here and we couldn't get the camera work? Because you all experienced something. Just pick up the camera. Pick up that keyboard, turn on that microphone, push record, start shooting, start writing your script, start editing it, start sending it out, start putting your name out there. Do not do what everybody else wants you to do. Follow your dream. I promise you won't regret it. I promise that Hollywood is not waiting for you. They're not waiting for you, but the public is. The public wants to hear your voice. And there's someone out there listening saying, should I do it? I'm telling you, do it. Don't even think about it. Go do it. I don't care if you're 20 years old or 60-year-old. Just go do it. And that's all I have to say for this episode. Follow your dream. Go for it, Dan.
That's good stuff, man. I agree with you 100%. Addressing the public. I think it's important these days that we step out of our comfort zone. Yes. You know? Yep. And you want to see a blockbuster movie? You want to see your Thors, your Star Wars? Just go do it, man. It's fun. It's the holidays. That's what that thing's for. But step out of your comfort zone. And start supporting some of these independent movies that are coming out. These lesser budget movies. Because there's magic there. You know, you might not see someone fly across the screen or a hammer go into someone's hand and, you know, lightning shoot out of somebody or something like that. But it's not all about that. There are so many amazing stories out there that need to be heard and need to be seen. And I think it's important to the public to support these things because it's going to give Hollywood, you know, blanket statement Hollywood. It's going to give that impression that, oh, times are changing. We do need to address these things. We don't need these Indiana Jones 5 movies anymore. You know, no offense to the Indiana Jones fans out there, but let's, you know, as a community, as a public, make that message heard. I think it's important. I think it's super important. So that's all I got to say this week, Steve.
All right. You want to end us off with our contact information?
Damn right I do, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Heroes of Noise. My name is Dan, and I got a little bit of more information for you before we just call this one a day. If you want to reach the Heroes of Noise, you can email us at heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to reach us on Twitter, it is @heroesofnoise. My name is Dan. You can reach me at DanQPublic, and you can reach my friend Steve at SE_Hudson Music. You can also give us a voicemail. You know, one of these days, I know for a fact that we're gonna actually look on the email. We're gonna have something there, and I want to hear your voices, people. There's certain regulars, people that came over with us. I want to hear your voices, people. I'm talking to you. 559-492-9831. That's 559, Steve. 492-9831. That's where you can reach the Heroes of Noise. Give us a call. Say what's up. We'd love to hear from you.
And until the next time we talk to you, I've been your host, Steve.
My name is Dan Ramirez. I'm going to leave you with this here, folks. Don't go chase the waterfalls. Just stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Because I know that, you know, you want to have it your way or nothing at all. But personally, I think you're moving too fast. So that's all I got for you this week, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a good time for me to just turn this microphone off right now. Thank you so much for listening to the Heroes of Noise. We will see you next week. Bye-bye. That's it, brother.